reading. How much you liked reading when you were a child? Sharat, how about you?
Ragini, tell the truth, I was a very avid reader. I used to read the comic books. I used to read novels and different things, and that's what shaped me to who I am now. I have a love affair with reading, actually.
Love affair with reading. Yes. Everybody, are you listening? Yes, we are here tonight to let you know about a fantastic initiative by RIC 2021 International. Who are they and what is it? Yes, that is the reason that me and Sharat are here tonight to talk to our esteemed guests who is going to explain what is RIC 2021 International. I can only say one thing, that read India. Read India. Do you understand that meaning? That is read India celebrations. So where we are planning to celebrate who is a fantastic reader. Yes, we're gonna make that beautiful child a celebrity. Right, Sharon?
Absolutely.
So that is the plan. But here we go. I mean, I think that we should let introduce to our guests, to everybody. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. We gotta bring the panel on and talk more about reading, because
exactly,
I'm very much excited.
And for that reason, the first guest I would love to welcome is none other than the person whose brainchild is RIC 2020 and RIC 2021 International, Raghuram Anantoj. Welcome, Raghu, in this fantastic show that is totally created for you and your crew by Mana TV International.
Thank you, Ragini, for having me.
Absolutely. So our next esteemed guest, who we would love to meet and we want you to meet as well, he is Dr. R. Pradeep Kumar, Professor of Earthquake Engineering and Registrar, IIIT Hyderabad. Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for coming and pitching in, Professor.
Hi, Ragini. Hi, Sharat.
Hi.
Hi, Pradeep. Wonderful to see you, in the panel.
Our last but not least, the person who maybe lives in your neighborhood in New Jersey, Raj Panisetti, is with us. And he is a Senior Vice President, Technology Leader for a global bank. So tonight we are going to talk to all three of them, right, Sharat?
Yes.
So many questions are there, right? There are lots of questions that we're going to ask them.
This literally questions are bubbling and
exactly.
very much excited.
Yes. You know what, my friends, we would love to tell you this, that after you listen to them, I think that not even the child, I think I also want to register, right? Because we are going to make whoever is going to read more a celebrity star. Imagine that, right? So let's go to our first question. Should I go?
Please.
Right.
As I said,
it's a very common question. It's a very, very, very common question for them to answer. For us, really, it's a very tough thing that what questions we're going to do, right? Okay. It is like, what is RIC 2021 and what we are really looking at?
So RIC 2021 means it is Read India Celebrations. So in Hindi, when we say celebration, it is Utsav. Utsav means after having done something, we celebrate our achievement. Now in this one, so this Read India celebration means all the school children will read a lot of books, and then they'll converge onto one book and then write the summary, and then they'll celebrate all the people who have read that and all the people who have participated in that. So that is Read India celebration. So this is, in a way, we are encouraging everyone to read. Now let me go to a little like in the background. So say when we learn the language, so there are 4 aspects of it. So one is reading, speaking, listening, speaking, reading and writing. So listening comes very easily, and speaking also we start, but reading and writing is not that easy habit to inculcate. So it needs effort. So reading and writing, these two things we have to inculcate. But what has happened is now reading means it's only school textbooks. No, that is not reading. That is important. But what is reading about means, so we have to read three important things. One is read books, which are what I'm talking is about non-school curriculum kind of thing. So about literature, reading actually gives access to literature. And what is literature? Literature is the knowledge in written form. So we get access to the literature. So reading books, and then reading of self. So reading of ourself, and then reading the situations. Now, see, the quest for self, knowing self, has been there, and there are lots and lots of books are written. But unfortunately, this has not made part of formal curriculum in education. So that's how this celebration is very, very important. So reading leads to our good input as a seed, and that expands into thinking, and then after that, act. So read, think, and act. And then there are 3 R's in this RIC 2021 or Read India celebration. That is reading books, reading of self, and reading situations. So that's in short, Ragini.
Thank you so much, Pradeep, for throwing great insights about reading. And we want to go more. We want to dive more deep into reading, and why you actually initiated RIC 2021 International. So Raghu, I mean, as we discussed earlier, I know that you're very much enthusiastic about the 3 R's, that is reading books, reading self, and reading situations. So kindly tell our Mana TV international audience what these 3 R's in some greater detail, please.
Right. So we touched upon this as a celebration, right? We are not calling this as a competition, because the whole orientation of the present day education system is to compete. When you compete, you're also thinking about rest of the people, rest of the society, what others think. But when you celebrate, when you enjoy something, you're not thinking about others, you're just living your life. So when we talk about reading, essentially reading books which are non-academic in nature, we're talking partying with knowledge, in contemporary language. We want kids to enjoy knowledge, because knowledge is the essence of life, right? So when we talk about books, we are talking about the author's perspective. When we are talking about reading self, it's about knowing our strengths, knowing our weaknesses, knowing the opportunities for learning, knowing our aspirations, why we live, where we want to go. All this only happens when we can read ourselves. Now the kids are, packed with the curriculum. They're so much engrossed with math, science, whatnot. But the most important aspect is, what are you going to do with those math, science? How do you want to live your life? And that insight they only get from reading self. And the other aspect is what's happening around us, the situations. And for reading situations, we need to have an independent thinking mind, not the borrowed thought. What comes on TV, what comes on internet, what comes through others is a perspective, but what we see in that, how we see that, and that is the most important aspect to how we respond to those situations. And that is why reading self and reading situations is very important for a person. The next aspect, like Pradeep mentioned, is think. Right? There's 3 R's. We want students to think about 3 things that they can do to make themselves better. And the act finally is about implementing those actions, doing those 3 things on a daily basis. Remember, continuous and consistent effort will only get us to where we want to. And that is the emphasis of RIC International. It's a global stage where we want students to share their views, their knowledge, their ideas. We want them to discuss the issues that matter to them.
Lovely thought, right, Sharad? And I am really excited about it, right?
I second with you.
I'm so excited because I am thinking that like reading books for us, remember that we used to feel like so lucky, right, to have those books during the summer vacation time or maybe the birthday time. We used to get excited about any new books we have seen, right? So that was the major thing. Yeah.
I mean, I just can't imagine that,
Yeah.
I mean, how our childhood went
Yes.
about without books. Now we have internet and all the
True.
iPads and the Kindle and the
Yeah.
books and all those
Yeah.
gadgets.
Yeah.
But I think books were a constant companion
True.
for us. I mean,
But here I would love to ask you that how you think that someone can get better in reading and what really they should follow.
Entire initiative is about books. It's a book reading initiative for students, as you can see on the screen. The earlier they start, they inculcate that habit of like picking up books. Books can become their best friends for life. And the more they read, the passion for increasing the knowledge and the levels of all of these topics goes higher by the day, by the year, and as they progress, they think that like this knowledge is there for the rest of their life. So certainly, it's a culture that has to be built in children, and that's where the RIC encourages different age groups to pick their choice of topics. And again, you can choose anything like that's outside of academics to begin with, and then write that summary, and then see like we have heard students who have been speaking in this last year. It's amazing and very refreshing to hear kids of such young age, like 10 years, 11 years, 14, 15. Their knowledge is tremendous. And you would think like, what did I do at that age? And this child has his 3 E's, like what I call like education, experience, and exposure. So they're kind of building these 3 E's around what they have learned, and they're using their imagination to expand the horizon. So obviously, this won't happen overnight, and this has to be built over a period of time.
Well, as you were talking about that, the kids that you have seen, I mean, they are like, I mean, their knowledge and their energy is really fabulous. I want to know a little bit more about RIC 2020. So can we just go back and refresh our memory about it?
Like maybe Raghu can add. I would like to share some points. See, Raghu has been thinking about this since long time. Okay, so he was conducting a lot of workshop to school children, many hundreds of workshops. So it became popular, and then he was seriously thinking what we should do as a movement kind of thing. So then in 2015, he came up with this idea. So how about starting this like Read India competition? But later he was thinking, no, competition is something which is not gelling with this one. Then he converted that into a celebration, Read India celebration, where everyone is competing with themselves, not with anyone else. So that means what we are improving ourselves. So that was the motivation. And then he was thinking what the students read these days. So earlier in our childhood, we used to read initially lot of books with many pictures and some small that balloon kind of thing where a dialogue is written.
Yes.
That is in Telugu. In Telugu, with famous comic Chandamama. Then after that, we slowly graduated to this Tintin kind of books. That was really amazing. Even now also, those things are fresh in my memory. Anyway, coming back to this one. So in 2015, it started. And first time itself, it was super hit. Over 1 lakh students participated from both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. And several teachers helped. Thousands of teachers helped because we received written summary of textbooks. Written summary of these books, what they read. And after so many filtering, it became difficult for students. Some students who will come onto the what do you call in the celebration stage. Then it graduated. Later in 2020, 25 states in the country participated. So from Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, it went up to all the 25 states, and people from US, New Zealand, Dubai also participated. So that is in short about the history. Maybe I ask Raghu to add if I have missed something, because I've been part of this journey along with Raghu and shared his emotions also during the journey.
It all started as a hobby, uh, enjoying schooling, right? These days the curriculum is so much packed that there's a lot of stress. Now, how do kids party? With something called knowledge, because out of knowledge, emerges intelligence, right? So when we talk about intelligence, we also have to talk about ignorance, right? They go hand in hand. Without ignorance, we cannot know intelligence. And all these things are tied, right? Knowledge is the only thing which can, connect with different cultures, different segments, all types of people. That is the only thing. Out of knowledge emerges love and the all of this stuff we talk about. But an agyani person, a person, without what love is only imagining things, believing things, but not touching the real. It's like they're stuck at the container, but the content is far away. So the whole idea is to, give that experience to, children from different, age groups, bring them onto a single platform, and then, see how they enjoy this whole, journey called knowledge. This journey called knowledge is a personal experience, and, if they understand at a very early age, I think it will take them a long way in their careers. It'll help them, living their life fully. And that is the whole background of, why Read India started. And we are glad that, like Pradeep mentioned, Raghu is just a drop of water, and, it merged with something called a stream called Pradeep. And then, a lot of teachers, a lot of heads of organizations, it was a huge effort, to get 100,000 students to participate from various, schools and colleges. It was massive, but, it was overwhelming. It was really very pleasing to see, kids express themselves. The intelligence of the kids coming, onto the fore. It's already there. It's just that, uh, it's hidden somewhere. We want to, bring it to the fore. We want the kids to party with knowledge. That's the word I would like to use for the kids in the US. It's not academic. It's non-academic, uh, fun, if I have to say that.
In 2020, when I participated as one of the judges, what I saw was the future workforce of the world and the future citizens. And these kids are all global citizens in true nature. So I have seen like a lot of participation from US, many states, many kids, and their perspectives, and I saw kids from Dubai and then from India and Asia Pacific. The kind of points that they brought up, like now, it was tying people culturally, and like now I think people tying different countries, and it was like feeling a sense of how these kids have grown over a period of time. Again, some kids grew up in US and some kids grew up in India, and they are on the same platform and trying to share their perspectives on things. It was amazing experience. Even as a corporate, like now I see, look at them as that future talent or a workforce coming into both locations, because I work with team members both here as in US as well as in many other countries. I saw the future workforce and how they are getting better by the day. It was a brilliant and amazing experience to be part of that evaluation last year.
Yeah, and I remember Raj, the like whatever topic we gave, the kind of readiness they had to share extempore. It was not prepared kind of speech by students. It was really amazing. They must have read lots of books and maybe met many people to form that kind of ideas. And those ideas were also crisp.
Yeah, it was a sheer confidence too, Pradeep.
Yeah.
And you talk to them, whether it's artificial intelligence or like a progressive society or like some other topic, they always had points at the tip of their tongue. And you'd be surprised to see some of these sessions happening at odd hours, like because we are talking of a global platform. Obviously, somewhere in India, Dubai, and Asia Pacific, kids were coming at different times. Like we understood their school routines and we understood how they can join. It was a very positive experience, even for me, actually. So I think I'm sure kids walked away with a lot of positive experience for themselves. But even for me, seeing so many kids, why I didn't leverage myself like to that level of things, and maybe can I push my kids to be in that journey? So I think there are several thoughts, like, and then I kept continuing the relationship with Raghu for 2021.
Wow, it's great to hear, guys. And it is a fantastic way to start. For the kids, I can say that this is summertime, lots of time in the hand, and this is the perfect time to use it properly, with the proper energy, proper guidance. And I do believe the parents are going to be so happy, Sharath, right? Because they're actually going to read and getting their celebrity status through it. I just love that. And Sharath, I think that right now, this is the perfect time that we should introduce Nishika, who already participated in 2020, and we really can hear a lot of things from her, right?
Bring her on. Absolutely.
Yes, why not? So Nishika, you are joining our worldwide global viewers right now.
Hi, my name's Nishka, and I'm currently a senior, and I participated in the Read India celebration last year, and I was a finalist. So I wanted to share my experience so I could hopefully motivate some of you guys to join this year and be a part of this amazing experience. So before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit more about myself. Like I said, I'm 17 right now. I have a lot of hobbies such as Bharatanatyam, and I completed my Arangetram in 2019. I am a black belt in martial arts, and I've also been playing the violin for 8 to 9 years. So one of the biggest things about the Read India celebration that made it a really unique experience for me was it was able to help me plan a lot for especially high school and learn a lot more about myself. It wasn't necessarily a competition where you were competing with your other peers that were a part of it. It was more of competing within yourself and learning more about yourself and learning how to better yourself, because a lot of times the experiences that you learned throughout would reflect when you spoke to the judges or whoever was interviewing you or whatever your final product was. One of the things that we did was we made a list of our strengths and weaknesses, and we looked at our weaknesses and we thought to ourselves, how are we going to make these weaknesses go away, or how are we going to make sure these weaknesses don't affect us? So I was able to get rid of my weakness of time management, and now I'm a lot more punctual and I can get things done faster. We also made a roadmap which listed all of our goals that we wanted, both short-term and long-term. And this was super helpful for me because it was able to help me plan out my high school and what I was going to do for my degree. And just having the goals in front of you had a clear outline for what the future was going to be, and it really helped better me and keep me more focused on academics. Next, it also helped a lot with my communication and interviewing skills, which are super critical in the future because the interviews with the judges helped me portray confidence when I spoke and just made me feel more ready to speak in public, because public speaking was also one of my weaknesses. And lastly, just reading the books helped me learn more about how to be a better leader. And a lot of the skills that I learned throughout the entire experience can be applied in my everyday life. So overall, I felt like this entire experience was really enjoyable, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend you guys to be a part of this amazing journey and take all the lessons you learn along the way, make some friends along the way, and just keep competing to make yourself a better person.
Ragini, I'm overwhelmed listening to the 3 E's, the 3 R's, think and act, the concepts of, Read India celebration 2021. And also, I was just taken back to nostalgia when Pradeep talked about Tinkle and Chandamama. And I mean, it was giving me a refresher of some reminiscence of Shikhari Shambhu and Supandi. And, those books were, crafted very beautifully for all of us. And I simply loved the idea of, that party with knowledge, what Raghu mentioned, kind of was, cleansing me inside. So I just wanted to ask one question, Raj. Tell me, why RIC is a game changer, and as a global platform, what do you think RIC can contribute to the future of the world? And as we know that books transform us to a high degree, throw some light on, how can RIC help a lot of readers and people out there at large to transform their lives?
First of all, the platform itself is an opportunity for a global platform that gives opportunity to kids across the world. That's the first thing. So a lot of times, like, we never have that opportunity of interacting with a talent and who are, like, scaling at a much faster pace than the rest of the world. And they're all getting to speak to each other, see each other, learn from each other. That's one. I think the platform itself of RIC enables that capability. That's one thing. And as a game changer, now you are encouraging the kids to participate in a celebration, which is not a competition again, to pick their choice of things and then slowly inculcate, even if somebody has not done it in the past, then they start picking up. Let's say I'm a bad reader. Now, can I push myself to read one book this summer? Can I make it two next month? And likewise, if I can inculcate that habit to get better by the year after year, you are progressing yourself. It's a competition with yourself. Then probably when we do 2022 and 2023 and all, you're already pushing yourself to a much smarter level of things. So this is an evolution of an individual kid that's where you're building the future workforce and global citizens. And these kids are the ones who will shape the world for all of us in the next decades to come for us. So that's where I think this is certainly a game changer on a global platform.
One thing is coming in my mind. Sharath, I think I should ask this question because a lot of parents these days, even we also see, right, that the kids, they're always with some gadgets in their hand, even little ones, like 4 years old, like they all have gadgets. They have iPad or phone or something, right, that we didn't even imagine in that age, right? I just want to know that, do you think that technology and all these things are really taking the reading time away from the kids?
Maybe I can start and then Pradeep can pitch in. I would not completely blame it on technology per se. Certainly, there are newer gadgets that are distracting kids to read. But at the same time, it's giving an additional opportunity to read books instantly also. For example, like now, if I want to read a book, I would go to Amazon and immediately download it to a Kindle, and then probably can satisfy my energy to read that book that very moment, right? I think that way technology is helping me. But at the same time, like now, I think there are several studies that tell me that paperback is not same as an electronic gadget. But today, if you look at the resources, it's books, podcasts, and so many sources that can enable you to knowledge. So the number of sources of education has tremendously increased with technology. So I would not completely blame it, but certainly to an extent, if you're talking of reading a book that satisfies an individual, may have come down a little bit for kids because of other gadgets.
So is there anything that Raghu wants to share with us?
That is precisely the reason why, RIC, makes people think. The point I mentioned earlier, that intelligence and ignorance go together. See, the kids have to understand the difference between utility and futility, use and abuse. See, the I in us, in every person, has infinite potential. But again, unless we read ourselves, we do not understand that both intelligence and ignorance go together. So do I spend time on gadgets, reading, technology? Yes, you should. And it's a wonderful thing. It's a great enabler. But to what extent? People, parents, kids are having a very hard time drawing that line. How do we draw that line? It's not something which the governments can force. It's not something.
Right. Exactly.
It is something which has to come from within. The light has to come from within
True.
And
True.
it can only happen if the kids start reading themselves, knowing themselves. From books, the transition has to happen to reading self and then the situation, so that we can make the world a better place. And that is why, this makes a strong case for the students across the world to come and share their views, what they feel about these technologies. I'm not blaming the kids, because these are such wonderful gadgets that everybody would get distracted. But how do we come out of that? That is the question we want the kids to think, the parents to think, the governments and the companies who are making those gadgets to think.
I want to ask either of the panelists,
Yeah.
because we are celebrating reading. The
Yes,
most quintessential
exactly.
act for me
Yes.
is reading, for sure. I have a love affair with reading. So tell me how, Raghu, or either of you guys, tell me how you actually stitch reading books, reading self, and reading situations. You synthesize all the 3 R's.
There are two things. One is, if you say something to somebody, it will have some impact. But if you do and create an environment, then after that you say something, then it will be very easy for others to pick up. Now, in that, say, just before we were discussing about technology, if parents are using technology in a right manner, then there is no way children will abuse the technology. So it's not about latest technology. We should be welcoming that. Now, let me go back to one incident which happened in my life in school. So when I was in 8th class, my school teacher, Satyam sir, so he gifted me one book. I was not reading before that. So he gifted me one book about, this book was like a comic Mahabharat. So written in Telugu. Then he said, by the time we were watching those TV serials, I said, sir, I know all that characters and dialogue, all that. But he said, no, Pradeep, you start reading it. Okay. So then he said there are 3 important benefits if one reads. First thing what he told was it is the exercise of mind is the first one. Second one is, if you read, you can gather a lot of new information. Then third one is very, very important. He said that it builds your imagination capacity. So these 3 important benefits, which I want every parent and every teacher to tell their students and children. So this is very, very important. Now coming back to this reading of books, reading of self, and reading situations. So 3 important things. So how to connect these things? Say if I read, reading, listening and seeing, all these 3 things are information only. I am collecting something. Okay. Then after that, what happens is there is another stage called learning. So learning means connecting these dots. So I have read, and that is information packet, another reading, information packet. I'm connecting these 2. So that connection is called learning. When learning matures, it comes up with a full image. So that full image is knowledge. Full image is knowledge. So in that knowledge, which is full image, there are lots and lots of information. Then when somebody is asking some question and I give answer, that means I am reflecting the knowledge what is already there inside me. That is called intelligence. And then when I use this knowledge for the benefit of me, fellow human beings, everyone, that is called wisdom. So this is the total package. So from information up to wisdom. So here reading is very, very important. So reading, and then what happens is when I'm connecting to the other person, if I don't understand myself, how can I connect to the other person? So that is where I need to read self. And then the third one is reading situation. So something like say I'm interacting with you or anyone, and there is a difference of opinion. So how do I handle it? So there is one non-negotiable item in any interaction. What is that non-negotiable item? That is, both of us should be happy. That is a non-negotiable item. Okay. Suppose something I am eating. What is the non-negotiable item? Negotiable item is health. When I am eating, I don't want to fall ill. I want to be healthy. Now, when I select a food, any food stuff, there are 2 components in it. Number 1, nutrition. Number 2, taste. So which one should be priority? unfortunately, nutrition should be priority, but unfortunately, we have made it reverse. So when we read and understand and we increase our imagination capacity and decide what is right, then it is impossible for us to violate the first one. So in interaction, mutual happiness is a non-negotiable item. When we eat something, nutrition and health is a non-negotiable item. So these things will build. That's how all these three things are connected. Reading of book, reading of self, and reading of situations.
We would love to hear from someone who resides in New York, and she's actually a student, and right now she's studying with psychology. So she has something to say to all of these beautiful kids, and she wants to share her views that why someone should read.
Hi, my name's Micole. I'm a third-year student taking my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I think it's extremely important that kids read because it not only aids in psychological development, but it allows children to gain skills and knowledge from the comfort of their own homes.
Sharad, do you remember in our childhood, we used to go to a lot of book fairs?
Ragini, I grew up in Calcutta, and I used to go to those huge book fairs, and I used to get overwhelmed, and for me, paradise was those book fairs.
I am feeling that, I am feeling that essence of that, because this year also, luckily in 2020, when I went to India, I visited the book fair. I was lucky enough because it was the month of winter. It is not winter in India in January but we do believe that it's winter time. So we went there, and what I saw, I love book fairs because you can really explore new writers, new publications. You can find different books from different cultures and different places of the world. I was going through some foreign language books, they're from was France. It was mostly about the mythology and all that. And I'm like, wow, that is quite something. Seriously, I do believe that the reading books or the culture of reading books is actually a celebration to bond with different culture, different religion, languages, and of course somebody's thought. So I do believe that, and I want Raj or Pradeep or Raghu to put a little light on it. How about that, guys?
On the cultural aspect, I think as you said, every place brings its own culture of things. I grew up in Hyderabad, and mostly, and same with Pradeep and Raghu there too. Libraries were all around us. I think even as a child, I would every day evening walk and run to the library, at least read a magazine, read a book, or pick a novel for my mother, and then come back. Later on, the culture shifted to libraries at the university level. So we didn't have these electronic gadgets. You have to go make a reservation, have a book, and come back. Now I see sometimes a similar culture here too, but again, meeting some of the authors live. So fortunately, living in Princeton gives me access to Princeton University, and around that, a lot of new authors especially set up a small table around the places in Princeton, and they sign the books, and then you get an opportunity to see a real author right there. And also you have that opportunity in Barnes and Nobles as well. You get to meet some of the new authors there. So culturally, I think, I feel like every place brings its own things, but at the end of the day, everybody has that love and passion for books and the authors and the love for reading. So as long as that is continuing, I think RIC celebration is going to be a huge win for all of us.
A lot of books were free. You just walk in, take a book, read it for free, and go out. Those who couldn't afford to buy a book, it just boils down to how much of an integral part reading was, is, and will be in our lives. Seriously, it kind of opens up a big part of your psyche.
Yeah.
So there are so many subjects in the world. If it was not for reading, if it was not reading, probably we would have gone astray. But it it brings us to the center. It makes us a better human being. That's what I feel.
I think you brought a very important point. Different cultures, diversity is the essence of this creation, and kids have to understand that, right? Otherwise the same diversity or difference will go against each other, and that's the ignorance part. The intelligence part is that, if you understand diversity, like, we all love to wear new clothes. That's fashion for body. What is fashion for mind? I call knowledge as fashion for mind. In fact, not just fashion for mind, it's the fashion for the whole being. Because when you read something new, understand new cultures, new religions, new things, right? The openness to newness. And that's what also is the seeding for creativity, right? And only these new ideas, all these gadgets and all are coming from where? This is all coming from the creativity. Unless a person is open to new, open to diversity, creativity will not happen, and this world will remain the same, right? There will be no change,
Beautiful.
and change is the essence. Will only happen, if kids start understanding that, we need to connect. And that is why RIC is such a game changer, not just for parents, not just for the kids, but for the countries, right? To understand, to learn, to know that wider perspective, why we all need to know each other, and why we need to live harmoniously with each other, because that diversity makes this life, this creation enriching. And that is the essence.
So let's find out from Mahita how to register for RIC 2021 International.
Hi, my name is Maita Pindota. Before I go on how to register and why I think it's important for other kids to register for Read India Celebration, I'm going to say a few words about myself. I'm 10 years old and I live in Newtown, Pennsylvania. I'm a 5th grader at Goodnow Elementary School. Like all kids, I love to read, and that interest never dropped, as schools concentrate so much on reading, and those foundational reading structures the U.S. schools have help kids grow their interest in reading. My favorite genre of books includes fantasy and realistic fiction. My favorite authors are J.K. Rowling and Anne N. Martin. Some of my other hobbies are dancing and singing. I've been dancing for 6 years. I would do many shows, like 4 to 5 shows a year. I took part in some prestigious events, such as the Bong Tour with superstar Salman Khan. I would use my writing skills and my singing skills to write my own songs. During the pandemic, I got selected for a course called CTY, Center for Talented Youth at Johns Hopkins University, which helped me evaluate my interest in science. Although it was a little tough to get in, I still enjoyed the course very much and I loved it. Now, let me walk you through the simple steps on how to register for Read India celebrations. So first, you go to readindia.info or www.readindia.info, all lowercase. Then, once you go to the website, you click Login/Register at the top right. Then you click this little button here. Don't click anything here, just click the little sign up button. Once you're done, you enter your full name, your email address, your mobile number, and create an own password. And then once you're done, you hit sign up. Now, let me talk about why I registered for Read India Celebration and why I think it's important for other kids to register for Read India Celebration. Read India Celebration 2021 is about two most fundamental aspects, reading books and reading self, which enhances independent thinking and decision-making in a person. I think we students should be able to speak and express our opinions and ideas, and I think this is a perfect platform. We students should be able to read the world around us and analyze it. This current COVID-19 pandemic situation is a perfect example. We students through this platform should make the world realize how much this COVID-19 situation affected us and why. How much learning loss students have been going through. We know there's an economic loss and everyone's talking about it, and the focus is politically. But how did it affect our younger generation? How can that be prevented? That's why I think this is a perfect platform to discuss and express our solutions to such problems. So I strongly recommend all of you guys to sign up for Read India Celebration 2021. Expressing something doesn't take a lot of words. It just needs a perfect platform.
That's why I want all of you to go ahead, sign up for Read India celebrations. Thank you.
After actually, like when we were listening to Mahida, I think that we need to check the dates out, right? For that.
Absolutely. Ragini,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to register for RSC 2021 International.
Of course.
Sure.
If you want to register, you have to really block the dates out, okay? Are you ready for that?
I am.
Okay.
I'm ready and excited, Ragini.
He's ready, guys, and I do believe you so too. But before we go away, I want to hear from a mother who really can tell you that why a child should take and should join this celebration. Do you want to hear?
Absolutely.
All right, let's watch
Bring it on.
Having raised two children of my own, I always believed that for their physical and their mental development, it's very important that they start to love reading the books right from the beginning. So at an early age, we introduced them to the fictional books, the picture books, and the novels. They learned to know about the world beyond the smaller world they were living in, that there are people out there who are so different from them. There are families around there which is so different to them. As they grow older, they graduated to the non-fiction books. I think the information they got from the non-fiction books helped them know about their surroundings, helped them to know about their world, and it also they also learned that how their decisions can affect the tomorrow. So they became more aware, and books help them teach about the other people, what they go through, and they make them little empathetic, which is very, very important, especially in the time like today, where media is saturated with the information, and it's important that they need to decide how to behave out there and how to process that information. That's why I think that Read India celebration is a great initiative.
Friends, we are at the end of the show, but let's find out from Raj, Raghu, and Pradeep what they're feeling about RSC 2021 International and the excitement of reading.
Really excited to see the kids in 2021. So what I'm expecting is two things. One is kids, after reading so many books, to be able to differentiate between essence and form. And then the second shift is from casualness to commitment.
Likewise, I'm really looking forward for even more diverse talent as we speak on diverse equity and inclusion. At this time, a global, kids coming to the same platform. Really want to see all that energy coming to that single platform this year. And I'm very excited to listen to them. It's a celebration for myself, so look forward for it.
I want to give one more reason for the kids and the parents. So this Read India Celebration International also focuses on solution-centric culture or mindset. The other important aspect of Read India Celebration International is that students have to propose an idea, a solution to solve a problem of their choice. In this world of uncertainties and unknowns, right, the kids should be happy to find solutions to their issues, not get bogged down. So RIC is a platform for kids to experiment on solutions. So kids, I would say this is an enriching experience for all of us. So we are looking forward to those creative ideas from the students, the issues that matter to them. We want them to own up, start solving them on their own.
Hello, my name is Sumana Moudgal, and I am a high school counselor in the US. For the past 10 years, I have worked in the public school system supporting students in a STEM-focused magnet program, which is a program for high-achieving students. I support students on everything right from academic issues to social emotional issues, and of course, we work a lot on the college application process. I also work with parents on issues that show up within the school setting for the student. Over the years, I think my role as a school counselor has changed some because I find myself focusing on social emotional issues much more these days. And what I see among students is, most of the time, is an inability to process what they're feeling, to be able to put a finger on what they're feeling and to articulate that. If they were to articulate that, it's a lot easier to work through the issues at hand and to kind of guide them and put them in a better place. But sometimes just the articulation and the processing of those emotions becomes difficult. And I bring all of this up because we are talking about the Read India celebration today. And I am thrilled to be a part of that process and to add my 2 cents to how reading helps develop the whole child, not just on the academic front. So I talked about some of the social emotional issues, the mental health issues that we deal with on the counseling front. And I think reading is an immensely powerful tool that allows students to put words to feelings and to help them articulate what they're feeling. And this comes from reading and just being able to describe events, describe things that are playing out around you, and use words to communicate. As children read and as they continue to read, they become stronger with the language and with being able to describe whatever it is, whether it's something they're observing or something that they're seeing. So I think reading is an incredible tool that helps with articulation. Also, what I really appreciate about the Read India Challenge is that it is not just encouraging students to read. And although there is tremendous value that comes from reading, reading is an integral part of everything we do, right from the K through 12 setting, all the way through to life. You know, even as an adult, you are reading constantly, whether you recognize it or not, or whether you're doing it consciously or not, to gather information and to process the world around you. So I think reading is extremely important. But more than that, I think that what reading does is it allows the assimilation of lots of different perspectives. And I think what the Read India Challenge is doing that I find so powerful is that it is not just encouraging students to read, it is asking students to read, to then reflect on what they're reading, and then to apply the knowledge that they've learned from reading and through that reflection to the situation around them. Just to give you an example, a couple of years ago, I introduced a program at our high school called Act to Impact. And Act to Impact was founded on the fundamental premise that if you ever hit a roadblock or you're facing a challenge, right, the only way to make that situation better is to do something about it. So the fundamental question that we ask students to ask themselves is, what am I doing about it? And that is also one of the tenets of the Read India Challenge, because not only are they encouraging students to read and asking them to reflect and have it make sense for themselves, but they're also asking students to apply it to a situation around them and to act upon that knowledge that they've gained. So if you look at what the Read India Challenge is doing, it is really empowering students with soft skills that will lay the foundation for their successes later on in life. So as we look at the entire program and what it aims to do, it is asking students to come up with solutions to issues that they see around them. And the only way you can do that in a way that's meaningful to you is by assimilating the world around you, learning from different entities, stepping out of your bubble and truly soaking in everything that the world has to offer from all the different corners, and then developing your own thought process that guides you and the decisions you make as you go forward. So one of the questions that was asked was, why should students read non-academic books? If you're looking for your child to step out of their bubble and truly soak in the world that is around them, it is really important for them to not just read, but also to expand on the genres that they're gravitating towards. If they stick with one genre, they're again just going down a rabbit hole. So it becomes almost our charge as parents to really encourage students to gravitate towards all kinds of genres, to read things that they're not familiar with and sometimes might be uncomfortable, because that is what helps the mind grow. And that is what helps them see things from another person's perspective, and it helps them stand in someone else's shoes when they're evaluating a situation.
Hello all, my name is Akash Madaram and I'm from Canada. I am 13 years old, studying in 8th grade. I'm an avid violin player and I'm level 5 in the Royal Conservatory of Music. I'm an active artist and practice my skills in the language arts and visual arts. I enjoy reading books as well and use my gained knowledge to enhance my literacy skills. Now I am here to tell you why you should register for the Read India book reading competition. This particular event occurs annually and poses as a major opportunity for the youth. It sets multiple trials for the contestant and challenges their literary skills. Not only will it test written skills, but it will test oral skills as well. Passionate and meaningful topics will be discussed, allowing the contestant to fight for something that they're passionate about. Self-improvement based challenges will be assigned as well. A primary example during the event was recognizing my weaknesses and slowly improving those areas. This helped me recognize this flaw, and I was easily able to improve throughout the pandemic. Though these stages are viewed as a competition, it really represents the celebration of knowledge and learning as a whole. This celebration unites all of us to share our wisdom and happiness from our gained knowledge. This entire event is a majestic podium to celebrate the young learners who are taught to use their voice. This younger generation will allow the youth to blossom into wonderful leaders who will shine in comparison to our predecessors. Situations like this very pandemic will be better managed using the skills learned from the RIC. Future catastrophes can also be easily nullified if we truly recognize the power of this generation. Overall, please register for the RIC 2021. Participating is such a beneficial experience, and you can apply for so many learned skills in day-to-day life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining here tonight. And Sharad, we have to say goodbye to our viewers. And I do believe that you guys will join the celebration with your kids. And of course, you will encourage them to read more. And that's the reason that the registration time got extended a little bit. Wow. You can really join us till the end of July. Yes. So please block your dates and please register your child for a reason to give them the proper knowledge. Read India Celebration 2021 welcomes you internationally, globally with Mana TV International. Everyone, from me and Sharad, please enjoy this beautiful summer with reading, love, and care. Good night.